sports listeners. I'm your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
This whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes. Woo! And we're talking all athletes. Hot showers. That's what I wanted to start off with today.
What?
Because we finally got a nice hot shower because we have a wonderful plumber named Wayne. And by the grace of God, Dominique had an impromptu visit to the garage. And within 10 seconds of that visit, our water heater sprung a leak. So thank goodness that she went out there. I love plumber Wayne. And I will be giving his phone number at the end of the show. I should have it memorized. But he walked us through. For all of you out there who do not know how to turn off a water heater, I would suggest you learn.
Yes, very important.
Very important, all the things. So, Plumber Wayne.
Just Google it.
Google. Well, yeah, you don't have a phone. Just say it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. You don't have a phone. You can't. It's dark, whatever. But
so now our contact for Wayne includes the notes of how to turn off the water heater.
We wrote it on a permanent marker, okay, step by step. It's really important.
On the water heater.
Yeah, you don't just go behind the water heater and unplug it. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Well, and 40 gallons is a lot.
It's a lot of water.
It's a lot of water. It's
heater.
a water heater. But the nice thing is the way our house is plumbed. Where our shower is at the end of the line. So for
years,
say decades, I have to wait, right? So it's so great because what he did is he added this like Insta-Hot pot thing or whatever that he added to the water heater that works. So as soon as I go in there,
increases the efficiency.
Thousands of gallons of water is not going to be wasted ever again till the day I die. Wayne, we love you. That doesn't really have a lot to do with anything, but I am telling you, somebody's water heater is going to go out, and you're going to listen to this show, and you're going to go out there and go like, well, how do I turn off the water heater? So that's a good old thing. It is chilly out.
Love it.
We all love it. It's crispy. Remember when I said last week that it was cold and it was we did get misty rain, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
A
little bit.
I did. I was like, there's not a cloud in the sky. Well, you just wait. And we ended up getting some mist.
Yeah.
But listen, we got some ins and outs. We got some recaps, a lot of things. We have a couple of seniors that are going to be missing. They're counting their days, which is kind of cool. When you're a senior and you're enjoying those last moments, those last games, they mean something. And especially with this group of seniors had to endure, for their 4 years with COVID and everything like that. So hats off to our seniors. First senior up today, giving us the SB Dawn recap. Romy, what's going on over at SB?
Thank you, Erica, and hello, everyone. This is Romy Davies, Santa Barbara High School senior, reporting back from Santa Barbara, California with this week's SB Dawn Sports Recap. Not much in sports news this week, but an unfortunate end to the boys' football season, who lost 38-21 this past Friday. Down 14-0 early in the second quarter, the Santa Barbara High football team started moving the ball and put itself in position to get on the scoreboard. The Golden Tornado, however, coughed up the ball at the 5-yard line. Downey and its talented quarterback, Aiden Chuez, capitalized on the fumble, completing 3 big plays that led to a touchdown. Santa Barbara never recovered and ended up losing to Downey in a CIF Division IV first-round playoff game at Peabody Stadium. The loss ended Santa Barbara's season and the 9-year coaching reign of J.T. Stone. He's moving his family to North Carolina. At the end of his post-game speech, Stone had everyone shout, "Family." In more opponent news, unfortunately the boys also lost their home playoff game against Servite, a team from Anaheim, by a score of 9-3. It was a great season for both teams, both finishing prematurely but not going out without a fight. Hopefully next week we'll be back into more sports news. That's it for this week's SB Dawn's recap, and see you next time.
Thank you, Romy. She's awesome. I am so looking forward to end up where she lands. I'm not kidding.
I love her voice.
Isn't she? She's like the best.
And she's just a light.
She's a shining light. All right, next up, we have another shining light. Related to our own Anthony Rodriguez. Same DNA. She's got spunk. We love her. She's going to be doing the Charger recap. Valeria, what's going on over at DP?
Thanks, Erica. And hey, everyone. I'm Valeria with this week's Charger recap. Starting off with our cross-country team, they were invited to the Mount Sac Invitational, the last and most important meet of the year. Our sophomore, Evan Gordon, placed 4th place. For girls golf, Zachary Kamanian was awarded Athlete of the Week at the Santa Barbara Athletic Roundtable. And for football, Greg Chapathy finished the season as the number 3 punter in the country with an average of 47.6 per yard per punt, over 38 punts, and a total of 1,810 yards. Then going back to cross country, on Wednesday they went to the SB County Cross Country Championship. Our top boys were sophomore Emmon Gordon with a time of 15 minutes and 30 seconds for the 3-mile course, and senior Tyler Jameson, who finished 5th. Boys varsity placed 2nd overall, and JV placed 1st. Then for the girls, Simi Wolf Lions placed 1st with a time of 18 minutes and 53 seconds. Girls varsity won 1st overall. Our boys water polo team will not advance to CIF finals after losing to Santa Barbara 7-4. The boys finished the season with 20 wins and 7 losses. And last but not least, girls tennis. This week was a very exciting week for girls tennis as Ellie Triplett and Mel Mayo made history. They played against each other during the Channel League finals. This is the first time in girls tennis history that both finalists were Chargers. The girls played hard, but Mel was injured during the second set and had to withdraw, making Ellie the first DP Channel League champion since 2014. And that is it for this week's Charger Recap. I'm Valeria, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you. She's awesome. Next up, Bishop Sean Walters. What's going on over there?
Thank you so much, Erica. This is Bishop Diego High School senior Sean Walters signing on once again to give you the Bishop Diego High School sports recap. Starting off with girls tennis, the Cardinals lost a heartbreaker in the wildcard round against Hueneme High School. The Cardinals were down 7-9 with 2 doubles teams pulling off wins to tie it up at 9-9. Unfortunately, the team lost a tiebreaker, which tallied the total number of games 87-76. Congratulations to our team on a great season, though. You guys are truly amazing. Also, I am thrilled to announce that the schedules for our boys and girls soccer teams have been released. The first games will be played in about 2 weeks from now and should be very exciting given how well both teams did last year. On Saturday, the varsity football team is now officially advancing to the Division III quarterfinals with a home victory over Vista Marietta in which they won 41-18. As always, star Kuron Gossett balled out as he rushed for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. He wasn't the only one with a stellar performance though, as fellow running back Misa Paiu rushed for 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. Quarterback AJ Vele also threw a touchdown to wideout Vili Fano. The Cardinals will host El Modena next week with more details to follow. Amazing job, guys. Well, that's all I've got for your Bishop Sports recap. Please don't forget to tune in once again next week, everyone. This is Sean Walters signing off.
Now we've got our own. He's also doing If Only I'd Known segment right after he does his recap. Isn't that nice? He's gonna introduce himself.
Ed.
Yeah, Ed. More Ed. Ed, are you ready for the recap today? Talk to me, Ed.
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Oh, there you go.
Marks are dwindling down a little bit. Things are slowing down, but yeah, we're ready.
Right. Well, class of 67 is in the house. Ed Langlo, what's going on at San Marcos?
Thank you, Erica. This is Ed Langlo, proud alum of San Marcos High School with a Royals recap. In boys water polo, San Marcos challenged Camarillo last Tuesday in the first round of CIF playoffs. In the third quarter, San Marcos was down 4 when they started the comeback. The game was still tight and went into overtime before McDonald's Athlete of the Week, Jordan Lynn, scored at the buzzer to give the Royals a 16-15 win. Emmett Haggerty was the top scorer with 6, and Nick Prentice contributed 2 more. Thursday in the second round against Rancho Cucamonga, it was Nick's turn to shine, and he racked up 5 scores in the first half, and the Royals took a 9-4 lead. The San Marcos defense played strong throughout the game, rarely allowing the ball to even reach the Rancho center. And goalie Matthew Domboski took a not on my watch boys stance. The final score, 12-6 Royals. In girls tennis playoffs, a strong performance by the doubles teams led the San Marcos girls to an 11-7 win over Calabasas in the first round of CIF SS Division I playoff. Coach Sapp was quoted in the Newshawk saying, "I told the girls to put everything on the table and give it everything you got, because if we play to our full potential and lose, at least we know we gave it our 100%. Well, we gave it 100%. Had no regrets and got the win." End quote. I say kudos, girls, for a terrific CIF achievement. Local student athletes competed in the Catalina Triathlon last week. In the girls' 15 to 19-year-old division, Carpinteria High School junior Ruby Cladera and San Marcos senior Megan Malengo were out in front. Megan took the lead in the half-mile ocean swim, but Ruby caught up in the 17-mile bike ride, making it a dead heat at the start of the 5K run. Ruby pulled ahead in the run to win her event, leaving Megan with second place. Megan, if you gave it everything you had at the time, then you paid your dues and you're still a winner. Congratulations. I'll be right back with If Only I'd Known right after this.
And this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
This is Ed Langlo with If Only I'd Known. If Only I'd Known is a mentor's moment with the teens with us remotely, as well as those listening into the radio. Today's segment is going to be impromptu because I just came up with this thought this morning. I was preparing for the sports recap segment, and I was watching the athletic roundtable recording, and I looked at that and I thought, well, they had a couple of students in there, and as they do, and they were piling accolades on top of these kids. And I thought, well, why didn't I ever get that kind of encouragement when 50 years ago when I was in high school? And the answer came immediately: you didn't pay your dues. And I didn't apply myself well enough. I went out for football, but I didn't really apply myself. I didn't pay my dues. And I thought that would make a good title for If Only I'd Known. Because I've talked about similar things in the past about how most things in life that are worthwhile require some effort. Some of them require a lot of effort. And a better way to put it, an easier pill to swallow, is to pay your dues. Just plan on paying your dues. So if you're in school and you're going to go out for sports, you got to pay your dues. You have to put in the practice time. If you want to get in a band, learn how to play an instrument, you have to pay your dues in the practice. And as you get on in life, you become an adult, and then you have to earn your living at a job and have a successful family life. You have to pay your dues. You have to put in the work required to get the things that are really worth having. So that's something that I think is good to learn as a habit. It can become a habit. The way you look at things, don't look at them as hard. When you go out for practice, don't look at it as a drudgery. Look at it as something you enjoy, and keep telling yourself that. And as you get older, you're going to be doing that more and more. You're going to be doing things that you don't want to do. You're going to be going to work when you don't want to go to work. You're going to be fixing your water heater when you don't want to fix your water heater. So don't look at those things as such a drudgery. Just look at them as paying your dues for the things that you want, and good things will come your way. So that's pretty much all I have for this morning for If Only I'd Known. But just keep looking at it that way and looking at paying your dues.
Dr. Jean is going to add some dues in there. Dues and no don'ts.
I'm still paying my dues. I've got a lot of interest on all those school loans. But, when you're talking about that, I do think about how so much of, what does paying your dues mean? And I think a lot of it is really getting to know yourself, and where we have what we call in therapy, it's called the window of tolerance, like learning, getting to understand where are your learning edges? Where are the places where when you start getting frustrated, you just say, you know what, I can't do this, and you give up. right? And so being able to find where are those edges and how can you be with yourself in those moments where it feels tough, right? What are the things that you might say to yourself in those moments? What are those voices that say, hey, you know what? Give it a minute, come back to it, right? Keeping those positive voices are really important when things start, really pushing you over that edge.
And I always say, look at the people that you're around as well. So
you want to surround yourself with people that don't have a problem. This is Dominique, that don't have a problem with committing and paying their dues in order to be a part of society or in order to be a part of the group that they're with. That is a beautiful thing. It strengthens the groups that we're learning with and supporting.
And then especially if you get the parental impact on top of that, then you form this little tribe. And that just goes along with everything.
That discipline has an energy requirement. And they've done studies with discipline, and the more fatigued you get, or the longer that you test your discipline to not go get that ice cream that's in the refrigerator, for example, the longer you do that, you burn up the energy required for the discipline, and the disciplinary energy starts to wane. And eventually you'll go do, as you get more and more tired, you'll go do what you're going to do. So that's, to me, another good thing to understand, that if your discipline is starting to wane, think about, are you tired? Well, maybe it is a good time to back away, because your discipline's not going to hold up. You're going to go eat that ice cream or do whatever it is that you're being disciplinary over.
Yeah, it's all about communicating. Our kids, especially everything they've had to go through the last few years. But let's go to Dr. Amy, then we got Alex, and Kristine wants to share.
Well, you know me, balancing out things. So I want to encourage people. Yes, we want to put in the work, be committed, be a good teammate, a good family member. And we want to know where our limits are, because often, and I have a chapter in my book about this, there's a meme on the internet where there's a person running wind sprints and he's cutting short his wind sprints. So every time he's not quite touching the line. And the meme says, this is the difference between winning and losing or something. But there's also a counterpoint, which is if a person's always going past the line, and there was no meme for this, so I had a friend draw it for me. If you're always going past the line, this is often the difference between winning and injury. So the real art is in knowing where that balance point is and when it's time to push and when it's time to back off. And often, ironically, when we think it's time to push, that's the time to back off. And when we think it's time to back off, that's often the time to push. But it really involves us listening deeply, at least in sport, kind of to the wisdom of our body rather than to the thinking in our head.
Well, speaking about pushing and pulling and stopping and going, we got Alex Ramirez in the house. Alex, talk to us, our own little trainer.
Hey everyone, Alex here, Fit for Life 805. With the teens, that's a hard one, because, our discipline or their discipline, they're paying their dues through school. And that's a tough, how do you find balance when you're in school, and what's happening in school when you feel like you're at that breaking point and you feel like you need to take a break? But can you? I mean, you're in class, so how, and then you have your rest periods and you have lunch, but we don't know what happens behind school doors. Certain kids struggle more than others, anxiety. Maybe kids are getting bullied. Some kids are in sports and they're the stars, or they're part of a camaraderie, a sisterhood, a brotherhood. So it's hard to check in when you're a child. As an adult, man, we just keep pushing, don't we? We just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And then once it's like paying our dues at the end, that disciplinary energy at the end is just gone. You're done. You don't want to do much. You're tired. You're spent. So having that checking point of, am I hungry? Am I hydrating? Am I going for walks when I'm getting really stressed out? It's a really tough thing, right, Amy, to find that balance, to check in and know when to pull back, but also when to push through. And
I think one of the things that we've talked about in the past is maintaining a positive balance in your energetic bank account. So if you're in a period in school where you've got a lot of papers and tests, then maybe it's not the time to be up all night with your friends playing video games. Or if you've got a big meet or competition coming up, then again, maybe you're going to need to save your socializing for later, or even talk to a teacher and say, look, this is state championships this week. I want to do a really good job on my paper. Can I have an extra few days? Because I want to keep my commitments in both domains. But it is learning to do those balancing things. And you pointed to a lot of things, Erica, and Alex, about, just the simple things of taking some time at lunch rather than to be on your phone, to just chill and sit outside in the sunshine, or play some nice music, or, really laugh and have a low stress time with your friends rather than, rehashing some big deal or whatever, taking a bath, going for a walk, going to bed early, going out for a simple evening, but knowing those things that fill you up, so that you do have a full bank account for when you have a lot of withdrawals.
You know what we're going to do? I want to continue because we haven't heard yet from Kristine, and Dr. Jean wants to round it out. So let's take a little break. All right? Be back with more after these messages.
Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. Oh, 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 oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me. Hey, hey. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. So they say, dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. Oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me. Hey, hey. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m.
This is Kristine with A View from the Deck. This is Kristine Marie. I forgot my own name for a second there. And we are talking about paying dues and balance. And so what I think about is I think I heard Dr. Jean say, knowing yourself. And the card that comes to me with this is the Seven of Pentacles, which is really about putting in the hard work and letting go of the fear of failure. We've been talking about a lot of different things. I think the thing that actually is coming to me with this conversation is trusting the body and understanding the body. And I have the need to say that if there were some really cool benefits that came out of this COVID thing. And the one thing that I think is so important is the fact that people are staying home when they feel sick now. Beautiful. And I think it's so important to understand that tiredness. For me, there's a tiredness and sometimes I need to push through it, but then there's this tiredness. It's this bone weary, horrid tiredness that I try to push through. And then I realize afterwards, oh my gosh, I was getting sick. And if I had just rested on that day, I wouldn't have gotten sick. And so I think about that sense of knowing myself and of trusting what my body's trying to say. And then there's that difference also of in the Seven of Pentacles, it talks about letting go of the fear of failure, putting in that hard work. If you're not trying, if you're not failing, you're not ever going to win. There is that balance. So we're talking about all of those things here, and it's really fascinating, but I really think that trusting that inner communication with the body is so important. And I think our teens, we're just learning these right now. I think you're just learning it. You're just coming into understanding. I mean, I was still reminded regularly, oh yeah, that meant I was feeling sick. That meant rest, Kristine, not push through, and so I'm reminded versus learning about it. So you teens, you're learning about it now. I think it's really good stuff.
I love what you just touched on. I have a friend that's always, I don't want to say complains, but her son is just always tired. So last time I stopped over there was say 4 or 5 months ago. I went by there this last weekend. Well, her son has grown, I'm not kidding you, probably about 4 inches. Okay. And I'm trying to explain, what do you expect? The kid is not even, he's like a snake. He's peeling. If he wants to sleep all weekend, let him, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's just what his body's going through right now. And he needs to be in touch. And I said, I didn't even recognize him. His voice went down. You know, I looked up. He was like my size. And now I'm like, you know, arching my neck up to the sky. I'm like, holy cow. So as a parent, maybe he just didn't notice. I don't know. I mean, he must have went through 3 or 4 different sizes of shoes, I would have thought. The expense alone. But just I think it's important just to empower your child, this generation of children. I think it's important for a parent to empower them, to teach them to use their voice.
Yeah.
You know, more than anything. But our generation was, you know, I say jump, you say how high. Okay, that was our generation. This generation really needs to get early on the tools. Dr. Amy.
I think you guys have covered it. I'm waiting for Kristine to pull a card.
Real quick before I go, I just wanted to say this. There's something that Dr. Amy said was, and that stuck in my head is, kids, teens, please ask for help. If you are feeling overwhelmed, reach out to someone, whoever it is. Just ask for help. Ask for that exam extension on the paper, whatever. Let your teachers know, let your parents know, or your best friend, someone. There's always someone there to help you and guide you along the way. And I think kids nowadays just have forgotten how to ask for help.
Asking for help is not failure.
It's not. You're trying to avoid failure by asking for help, and that's the best way to do it.
Look at the pressures that they're under. We did not grow up with what they're growing up. They have so much noise around them 24/7, and that's why my hope and prayer is they just bag the phones, and when you go into a public, system,
a lot of schools are considering that. They're making their
I'm praying for that every day. No phones,
phone free.
Yeah.
Phone free.
Not they can't use technology for education,
No.
but just the 24/7. I don't know, not getting it. Dr. Jean.
Yeah, I really I was thinking about that word balance, Kristine, too. I think a lot of what you're saying really resonates, especially in getting to know your bodies, right, that are changing so much that how it felt last week could be totally different the next week, right? We're just going through so many cycles of change at that, as a teen. Dr. Siegel has a book, and he talks about mind platter, which I love because it's like this idea of keeping balance of everything on a platter. And he puts in there not just, sleep and food and social, but also recreation and leisure, right? So that leisure time, what a concept. And that if something gets out of balance, right, that everything kind of gets out of whack, you feel it. So you have to do something else to balance that out. And so really noticing when something feels off, what is it that I need to do, right? Figuring out what is that needs to happen. So yeah, really great ideas here.
This is awesome. This is great chatter. We're going to take another little break because we've got a hooga after these messages.
Stand and work together. Come on, let's work together. Together we'll stand, divided we'll fall. Come on now, people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on, let's work together. Because together we will stand, every boy, every girl, and a man.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica Salda, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday
at 9 a.m.
Hey there, it's Dominique Hackett with a Hackett Hooga moment.
Hooga!
So I consider these hooga stories as kind of the balancing point where we get to recharge our energetic bank account. And so anytime we have a comfy, cozy moment, that's a recharge and a rejuvenation. So these stories, which I enjoy telling teens, I try to pick things from all around the world. And the story today dovetails nicely into, Ed, what you were talking about with paying your dues and so forth. This is a story from Socrates, and I don't hear very many people retelling these stories from Socrates, but Socrates was a Greek who lived in Athens, and he's credited with basically the beginning of Western philosophy. And the interesting thing is, I don't know that we have any of his writings, but we have writings from Plato, his student. And so Plato retold a couple of stories that Socrates told. And the very odd thing is Socrates died because the governing people in the society decided that he was corrupting the youth. So very, very strange. You can decide yourself after the sharing of this story if you feel that this was a corrupting of the youth. So apparently, one time a man came to Socrates and said, I want to understand the secret to success. I really want to get this because I want my life to be successful. And so Socrates said, okay, meet me tomorrow near the river. So they gathered at the river the next day and they took a walk. And when they got to the river, Socrates says, hop on in here with me. So they started walking into the river. They walked in so deep that only their heads were sticking out of the water. And at that point, Socrates grabbed the man's head and dunked him under the water. Not only did he dunk him, but he held him under the water till this young man was just struggling and grasping to come up out of the water. And then when Socrates felt like he had made a point, he let the man up. And the man, of course, young man was sputtering and nearly choking on the water. And Socrates looked at him and said, what were you thinking when your head was under the water? And supposedly the young man said, air. All I wanted to do was breathe. And Socrates said to him, when you focus on what you want as badly as you wanted air, you will succeed. That is the only secret to success. There is no other secret. And people have talked about this story and what is the moral of the story. And a lot of people have talked about how anytime we start out to accomplish something, and this goes to what you were saying about paying your dues. Anytime that we start out to accomplish something, if we don't have a strong enough desire, if we don't build up that fire of commitment, we may not get the result that we're looking for. The stronger
it's more of a mental,
person's,
more of a mental thing, mental dedication and having a good attitude.
Exactly. That burning desire. So what I want to encourage our teens that are listening to these stories and so forth is these old stories from these old philosophers and so forth, they're not musty and useless. They are very wise telling of a truth that is true all the time. There's nothing that we can do more for success than to stir up our desire to succeed at what we are trying to do.
Nice. Kristine.
Interesting. That is so interesting. You know, I did pick a card, Dr. Amy, and the card that I picked, it came up as the Prince of Pentacles, who is mastering the material world to become the King of Pentacles. And in this card, there's a bull that's about ready to just take off. That this prince he's riding in a chariot, and it's being pulled by this bull, and he's driving his chariot with the Hanab-Ku, which is also called the Mayan butterfly. It's the Mayan symbol of the galactic center, right? It's just like the galactic center is that dark, I think it's a black hole that's continually creating and destroying stars. It's like it's the center of our universe. And I just think about that, he's mastering, he's learning the material world, he's getting things going, he's moving forward. And it is really a card of exploration and moving forward and exploring things. And I think that Hygge story, wow, it's like when you want something that much, when you have that focus on it. I think when I was in my early 20s, a good friend of my mother's said to me, you have to focus on one thing and make yourself the expert of that one thing. And I couldn't do that. I didn't find one thing, but I did what came easy to me. administrative work always came easy to me. And I kept also this other focus of things that were really interesting to me. I loved the esoteric. I loved looking into spirit and healing and all of these things that were so important to me. And now I'll tell you, at 52, they're starting to dovetail. I hadn't thought that would happen. All of a sudden I'm being asked to integrate these things. And I'm like, wow, this is what I was working on all that time, unbeknownst to myself, right? Things are moving us too. So I think there's this sense of, yes, focus on what you love and also allow what comes easy to you. And eventually those things may move together. I'm finding them move together now. I'll keep you posted.
Easy doesn't mean that it doesn't take effort. It means that there is a sensation in your body of, I want to go this way.
That's funny because I was taught the exact opposite. My father's don't be a master of anything, but be good at everything. So I took on something, got as good as whatever my goal was for that thing, and then I jumped to something else, and I did it again and again and again and again and again. So,
but he did have you focus on mastery
when I was in it. Yes, I got really good at it. But then once I got to the point, it wasn't like, oh, let's be professional bowler or whatever. Then I just jumped to another sport or something.
He didn't let you stop.
Yeah, exactly. It's true. Amy, Dr. Amy.
Well, I'm going to open up a whole can of worms here, but I also think we want to look at how we define success.
I like it.
And, going back to how Ed kind of opened for us, he was talking about accolades and, that he didn't get a lot of accolades because he didn't pay his dues. But I think if we're doing something for the accolades, and I know I've certainly done it in my time, we need to enjoy the journey as much as the destination. And we need to hold both, quote, success and failure lightly, because if we make them our identity, when things are good, we're up, and when things are down, we're not. Whereas if we can just kind of roll with it, then, we have this sense of our wholeness, regardless of whether we're getting accolades or not, on the days when we're really doing well and paying our dues, and on the days when we're struggling to pay our dues. So just holding our spirit experiences with lightness and compassion, I think is super helpful.
I love it. And Alex isn't here, but I know a lot of fitness coaches will have you make a list and have you check off where you are so that you can see the balance of where your energies are, and you can see your own progress regardless of what the outside world is giving you as accolades.
Definitely. Dr. Jean.
I love that idea, Amy. It made me think about, many of you may not know this, but I was practicing with the local roller derby for a couple of years, the Brawl and Betty's at Mission City Roller.
I did that too. I did.
I knew that.
We'll have to talk about it. They're so badass is the word. Oh my gosh, those ladies, they're amazing. Okay, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, and I thought I would be better at it. I thought, because I love roller skating, but I wasn't very good at it. And let me tell you, it was also one of my first team sports. And the range of types of bodies, of ages, of women and everything, I was like, this is amazing. It was so empowering to be among all of those women. But I wasn't very good at it. I didn't get very many accolades, but what I did do was go, what am I doing today? I'm just trying to get across the rink without falling, or I'm just going to be able to try it, right? It was just like simple baby steps. And I had to do that every time I went in there to recalibrate what's important for me.
Nice.
So I love that.
Right. Now,
I want to say one more thing.
I got a good visual on that, but I'll let you do that right after these messages.
So Brazil, back in the USSR, way down in LA,
back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m.
Hi, this is Dr. Jean with drjeantherapy.com, and we are back talking about some lessons in life about paying your dues and focusing in on what's important for you. The one thing I wanted to say, Dominique, about your story, I was a little bit disturbed, Socrates, but so interesting that he had a somatic experiential exercise to teach a student a lesson. I was like, wow, that is a long way to go to teach a lesson. But at the same time, yeah, what beautiful, beautiful lesson. So I just had to put that in there.
Well, that young man is never going to forget that. Sometimes that's what life does to us. We physically learn lessons in our body that we will never forget.
I could. That's a 2 thumbs up for me on that one.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a really important way to teach.
So Dom, where does that cross the line between like passionate intensity in teaching and abusive teaching?
So you have to know the child that you're working with. And Alex demonstrated this with one of the stories he told where he was coaching a young man with running, and this child would have anxiety and panic attacks. And so then the team just walked with this child, but stayed with the child. And eventually the child got over the anxiety. So you always need to know the student that you're teaching.
Nice. Fine. Ed, do you want to give a shout to anyone or anything for the week? We got 2 minutes.
No, I just had a thought, though, about what Dominique was saying. And in support of Socrates, the Alcoholics Anonymous, one of the first things they'll say is, you can't turn things around until you hit bottom and you make up your mind to change. Nobody can come to you and say, you need to stop drinking, you need to stop drinking. That's what they say, is that you need to hit bottom, and then that will turn you around. You will decide for yourself that I need to go another direction.
You will find that passion.
You bet.
The will to live and live a life, maybe of consciousness, right?
Yeah.
Clean and sober, yeah.
Yes. But there's something, think about it. Desire is fire and light and enlightenment and knowledge.
We need to carry that through the holidays. This is probably going to be the first reset Thanksgiving, first reset Christmas. So let's just act as if and share love and light with everybody that
look out for everyone.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah. We're all in this together.
There are a lot of people that are really, really still hurting. They lost their businesses. Anthony Rodriguez
and loved ones.
Anthony Rodriguez is running around at the food bank. They really need turkeys. So if anybody wants to grab a couple of turkeys and send them his way, he'd be most appreciative.
And the walk is on Saturday the 12th.
Yes.
That is this coming Saturday.
Out of the dark.
Out of the dark walk.
And,
yes.
Please join.
Yeah, please join and think of others when you're buying groceries for yourself. That's all we have for this week. God bless you all. See you next week.
You're the best around.